live from the snowy dunes of Hoth. This is Echo Base Radio. It's been a while, but as always, I am Green Leader 88, and this
Blue
is...
Leader 99. We're back in our old base that the Imperials took over that last time.
Alright, good thing we have options, right?
And we also got a new Gundark.
Right?
He's over there right now.
He'll make a special appearance later on.
Yeah. But, we're back with part 2 of Revenge of the Sith. We've already explained that it's the best of the prequels, our favorite of the prequels. So let's just get right back into it where we left off. Palpy invited Anakin to the opera.
Oh, Creamy Sheev has an Opry date.
But this is where we also get, the first hint of some, malicious dark tones going on. It's a very spectacular, well-lit, venue full of people in their Sunday best going to see whatever it is the female Mon Calamari ballet they're going to be putting on. But, Anakin is... Anakin, has been invited to Palpatine's private box, but before he goes in there, George Lucas and his daughter cameoed in this scene.
Right?
They're both painted blue. I don't know what convinced George to do it, but I guess he was, just so dedicated to getting this trilogy out of the way. So he was just like, "I'll do anything at this point just to end it." Well, I mean, he didn't have to get paid. He was already still. I mean, those residuals from the toys were still rolling in at this point.
Yeah.
That man never needed to work a day in his life after he negotiated that deal for the first Star Wars movie.
He said.
He was just like, it's so funny just to think that no one had faith in this, and he just said, "I want sequel rights and toy rights," and they're like, "Fine, this thing isn't going to go anywhere."
Oh, he knew what he was doing.
And that's why he's dressed up as isn't his character, I can't remember his name, but is he like a baron or a count or something?
I think he's supposed to be one of those higher up dudes.
And don't you have an action figure? Because they made him. Do you have an action figure of George?
Not of him. I have a Black Series figure. It's a Stormtrooper it's George Lucas as a Stormtrooper.
Okay.
So he comes with
That's
a
nice.
removable helmet, and you take the helmet off, and it's Georgie boy.
Okay. Well, now I know what to get you for Life Day. But this is a really cool scene because Palpatine is not letting the mask slip, but he is, very subtly putting some seeds of doubt in Anakin's head. And I also have to say that, there's some nice visual tones here because, for one, I believe this is the official first appearance in the prequels of the Royal Guard. They're guarding the entryway to the box. And I also noticed one of Palpatine's little aides that gets up, I think is the same species that dinosaur guy was who got shot by Jango off of the box in episode 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's just like, what if he got his corpse and reanimated him? Who knows? Because that was part of the original lore that the Royal Guards were reanimated Jedi, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that was just an amazing scene, just with the setup and the scenery. You had that eerie music going with the very
and those
colorful,
low moans.
Those low moans and those paired with those colorful visuals of the bubble show. And then just paired with Palpy's speech, it's...
Oh, yeah, and this is, also good visual shorthand, and I'll explain it as we go along, but this is also where Palpatine drops the very famous line, "Have you ever heard the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise?" And Anakin really perks up at that because before this, Palpatine has just been like, "Oh, the Jedi don't trust me. Anakin, are you unsure about them? Oh, Anakin."
But now he knows Sidious or Palpatine does know of the dark side because he knows of the legends and it was.
But he hasn't revealed it yet because, stories of the Jedi and the Sith can be spread across many sort of systems and.
Well,
types
well,
of
it was
species.
kind of like that whole speech was kind of like also kind of like him testing the waters with Anakin to see kind of how he would handle that, and an inkling of his true nature.
Yeah, because at this point, Anakin is still very much loyal to the Jedi, even though he is really tight with Palpatine.
Yeah.
And Palpatine is even playing a little bit of sentimentalism with him by saying, I've known you since you were a small boy.
Yeah.
So
he knows he has him under his wing and pretty much wrapped around his finger.
Oh,
but
yeah.
he's still, Anakin's still a wild card.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
If you go full on reveal with him, you don't really have an idea of how he's going to react, if he's going to be on board. And that's, we'll get into it.
And that's what that's what the whole point of this story is, because Palpatine is saying that there was a Sith Lord however long ago. I mean, books and whatever have revealed it, but who knows what's canon at this point. He reveals that there was once a Sith Lord named Darth Plagueis who had such a vast knowledge of the Force that, in Palpatine's words, he could influence the midichlorians to create life and even stop people from dying. So he had the key to immortality. Yep.
That right there, because I think Palpatine knew what was going to happen to Padme, and he knew if he threw something about saving somebody, the power to save somebody's life, that would instantly get Anakin's attention and just hook, line, and sinker him.
Yeah, because the very next thing, the very next line is he could actually save people from dying.
Now you have Anakin's curiosity. Now you have him kind of coming into your way of thinking.
Oh yeah, because he's like, oh man, Ian McDiarmid just kills this role.
Honestly, that scene right there is probably one of my favorites.
Just trying to make sure we don't have a radioactive leak from the Gundark like we did with the last one.
We're all dry here.
Okay.
We're all fine here now.
We're all good.
We're good. How are you?
Who is this? What's your operating number?
Hang on, let's see.
You were saying something about manipulation.
Right, like how, like he knew, like if he could get Anakin's attention with that he could pretty much have the power to persuade him with that to do whatever he needs him to do.
Yes.
It's like, okay, I got him hooked now. If he knows that he could save Padme with the dark side's power, okay, we could work with this.
But he still doesn't. But Anakin still at this point, doesn't want to mess with that because he's.
But you got his curiosity.
Yeah, and he's like, and the line that was in the music video. I don't know if it was in the trailer, but it was in the music video for Battle of the Heroes, and it's become, I guess, it's become iconic. The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. but Anakin is like, well, you told me about this guy who had these great powers, so what happened to him? Is he still alive? Can we go visit him? And he could tell us the secret. And Palpatine's like, well, he taught his apprentice all he know, and his apprentice killed him in his sleep. Anakin doesn't know about the rule of 2 yet. And then, but as we would later learn, years later, I don't know if the Plagueis book is still canon, but we learned that Plagueis was still alive during the events of the Phantom Menace, and that he and Palpatine were the true master and apprentice abiding by the rule of 2, and Maul was just a weapon, I believe.
Maul was just, I can see that he was just more of a tool.
Or maybe it was, no, I'm sorry. I believe Plagueis was pulling strings behind the scenes, but Palpatine and Dooku were the master and apprentice, and Maul was the weapon.
Yeah,
that's what, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't know if, Plagueis was injured or at this point or whatever, but, who knows what happened. But at this point in the timeline, 2005, this was the very first instance we had ever heard of this guy, and Palpatine tells us that he's dead. And as we know, the Sith never lie. The Jedi give us the certain point of view tactic, but the Sith never lie, as far as we know. So So Palpatine's just like, well, he's dead, and but Anakin, very desperate, asks, "Is it possible to learn this power? Not from a Jedi." And we already talked about the very next scene that pops up after this in the last episode. We talked about the Kashyyyk battle.
Yep.
But I did have a thought cross my mind, and I may be regurgitating what was said in the last episode, but all those Wookiees that we see, are all of those guys in suits, or is it like maybe just a couple of them in suits and the rest are CGI like the clones? Because I do know for a fact that it was Peter Cushing in the Chewbacca suit, at least. So we know that at least one guy was in a suit, but all those other Wookiees.
I think Tarful, was a real person.
Okay.
But there may have been like a couple like real ones scattered around, but probably the majority is
Like the
CGI.
clones? Okay.
Yeah. Like especially like in the battles and stuff. Like it's all CGI. Like they'll take a couple different models and just spread them out.
And I just want to, say this right now. From the space battle to the color of the ships to the beaches of Kashyyyk to the lava beds of Mustafar, I think that, even today, this is the best looking Star Wars movie.
Oh, yeah. It's just got such a variety of locations.
And color palette. And even today, watching it on, just like, a good crisp 4K screen, some of those, CGI effects still really hold up today,
absolutely,
I think.
Yeah.
And just, pairing that with, Dolby Atmos sound and everything, it's still a really good movie that holds up today. Even, oh my gosh, we're going to be dating ourselves. It came out in 2005. Is that thing going to be 20 years old next year? 2005.
We're not going to talk about that.
Oh my gosh.
We're not going to talk about that. Anyways,
but well, I have to go back to the visual shorthand at the opera that I was talking about because Palpatine's given us this tale of a guy who could give birth to life forms and influence the midi-chlorians. And when you look at the visuals of the opera or ballet or whatever that's going on in the background, we got these dancers with tails or whatever jumping within these bubbles or whatever, and I'm like, Lucas was intentional. This is the sperm and the egg. That is exactly what that is. That's what's going on here, because it's just like, making life. Hasn't there also been a theory about Palpatine and Shmi hooking up at one point?
Yeah. Yeah.
We do know that he did hook up after he died at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Apparently, yeah. If you count that as canon.
I am the only family you have here.
I am all the Sith.
Gosh, we're not.
Somehow.
I am dreading that day.
I'm actually looking forward to it. That's going to be a fun episode.
But after that, initial conversation and, when Anakin first met him, Palpatine was like, oh, I'm going to be, questioning of the Jedi's intentions if they don't give you the assignment to go and hunt down Grievous, because Palpatine told him that, Intel has found out that Grievous is hiding out on a planet called Utapau, which is a giant planet lined with sinkholes, which was actually in the original draft of the first Star Wars. That was going to be a planet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like in the very first draft of Star Wars that Lucas wrote back in the early 70s or whatever, Utapau was a planet. But they go and I also like this, this new thing that they added, the Jedi generals who can't be there for council meetings, who are still on the battlefield. I love that they can still take time away from fighting to be on these council meetings, but it's cool that they're holograms sitting in chairs.
Yeah.
It's a nice little visual because, Mundi is off on Megiddo. Plo Koon is at Cato Nemoidia, and Yoda has just gotten to Kashyyyk. So it's nice that we have Jedi holograms of the masters who can't be there. But this is when they say, we found out the intel that Grievous is hiding out on Utapau, and then Anakin just says, the Chancellor has asked that I lead the campaign, and Mace shoots him down, and then just for whatever reason, they don't really, try to decide who's the best. They're just like, Obi-Wan should go.
Obi-Wan.
Why Obi-Wan? Because George needs to get him off the planet.
Why?
because none of the important Jedi who could help Anakin on Coruscant can't be there when the moment to turn comes. Because, Yoda's not going to be there. Obi-Wan's not going to be there. The only other Jedi there either don't speak to Anakin or they really hate him.
Yeah.
So who does he have left? A creepy old man, a wife that he has little to no chemistry with, and 2 droids. Who is he going to talk to? Who's going to help him? But I do like when Obi-Wan is getting on the ship. I do love that nice little moment of friendship that Hayden and Ewan have during that moment. And
that was the last
and again, it's just like the space battle. This is what we should have gotten in episode 2. And I would even go so far as to say is what we got in episode 1. Like, the majority of episode 1 probably should have just been one half of a movie, and then we get that building up of a friendship over the course of a movie and a half. But for what we get, it's good because Anakin for once admits his shortcomings, and I love that little eyebrow twitch that Ewan does when he goes, "I've been arrogant," and he's like,
really?
Oh.
Yeah, you can definitely see.
Also, you have been listening to me.
You can definitely see little inklings of the fact that their relationship is progressing and what it should be. And just to piggyback off of what you were saying, I think the majority of episode 2 should have been focused on their relationship with Anakin and Padme's relationship as a side quest.
Right.
Because you need, even with what we got, the turn and the final battle and the way the ending of their relationship goes, I think that was done very well. They had a lot of emotion attached to it, but just think of how much harder that would have hit if we would have had more in that middle act. Yeah,
but this is also good because at least we just get to see something. And I like that when Obi-Wan is leaving, Anakin calls him Obi-Wan and not Master.
Yeah.
And then Obi-Wan is like, goodbye, old friend.
And that's the last time.
That was the last
Anakin
time.
And Obi-Wan.
As friends.
Next time they meet, Anakin is no more.
Yeah, and he also gets a little bit untrustworthy when he has another flashback or thinking about the dream that he's had of Padme, and Obi-Wan is there in the delivery room in this dream, and Anakin is at home with Padme, and he just immediately goes, Obi-Wan has been here, hasn't he? And it's just like, what's going on here? But obviously there's no love triangle being set up, but Anakin initially suspects, and rightly so, that like he voices, there's things that that the Jedi aren't telling me, and I just feel lost because they're not letting me in on everything. And he's struggling with his feelings of power, and then when Padme just is just trying to reach into him, that's when he gets obsessive, evilly obsessive, truly, for the first time that we see it, because he says, I found a way to save you, and Padme's like, I'm not gonna die, I promise you, and Anakin kind of aggressive, or kind of aggressively goes, "No, I promise you, like I'm not going to let this happen." And it's just like, you gotta keep that in check, boy.
Tone it down, young man.
Yeah. And another thing that we should have gotten in movies, because before this, Obi-Wan is on the ship and he's talking with his clone friend, Commander Cody. And this was another thing. We should have had camaraderie with the clones, because, the clones are just as dispensable as droids in this universe, but yet they have human faces of a host who made them.
Yeah. And that's why I'm glad, we kind of got the Clone Wars TV show to kind of flesh out those moments.
Yeah, it was really good. Commander Cody had actually appeared earlier in that first Clone Wars when Anakin and Obi-Wan were on a planet, and there was a droid shield over this city that they were trying to take down, and basically they were just doing nothing but barraging the city with heavy fire. And it's raining, and Obi-Wan's miserable, and Commander Cody comes and says like, with our continued barrage, the shield should be down in 3 months. And Obi-Wan says, but we've been here a month already. And he goes, yes, sir, we're right on schedule. And then he just flies off.
Obi-Wan's like, oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah, but Obi-Wan had gotten used to the war at this point. He was in his he was wearing his clone armor under his Jedi robes in that episode.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
that was a great look.
That is a great look. A Jedi in clone armor, and I think they kind of riffed on that a little bit in The Force Unleashed with Rom Koda. He had his own battle armor. Yeah.
And Anakin's armor was great too. What?
He had armor in the Clone Wars. I thought it was just kind of like a customized Jedi thing, but he had pauldrons or something.
Yeah, I was talking about like the pauldrons and like the armor breastplate and the little skirt that came down.
And didn't he wear that in the live action flashback in Ahsoka?
Yeah.
He Vadered.
Dude, like they're talking about doing a live action Clone Wars series.
That would be great. That would be great if they don't.
With Anakin and, of course, Ewan coming back.
I know, but don't muck it up.
Yeah.
Don't muck it up.
Mm-hmm.
And, Ahsoka's younger in that. Who are they going to get? Are they going to put Ashley Eckstein in the get up?
You haven't seen that, the Ahsoka episode, have you?
No.
So the girl they got for young Ahsoka was actually really, really good in that role. So
okay.
I'm okay if they just use her.
I mean, it could work. To me, when they de-aged Hayden in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, it looked okay, and Ewan kind of has an unchanging face, so whether they put a wig on whether they put the episode 2 wig on him, or if he just grew out his hair, he basically looked like he hadn't aged a day since episode 2.
and I think that's one of those things that's going to be neat to see.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's going to be neat to see like these guys come back and reprise their roles and do this in live action.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think it's necessary? No.
Yeah.
Because the Clone Wars was already a great series.
Yeah, and we already had 7 seasons, and I remember Disney canned it when they bought Lucasfilm, and the fan petition and outcry was so large that they made a final season. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So don't undo it.
So what are you going to do? Just rehash the same stuff in live action? I mean, it's going to be cool, and I'll watch it, but it's not necessary.
Yeah.
But that's an episode all in itself.
Right. Yeah. When we get to Utapau, Obi-Wan finds out that the citizens are essentially under some sort of I guess planetary wide house arrest or martial law because they're like, oh, everything's hunky dory, and then he gets really close to him and he's like, he's here.
Do something. He's watching.
And I mean, I know it's makeup, and I'm not degrading anyone who may have but. The guy's teeth reminded me of the Grinch.
He's definitely a gnarly looking dude.
Yeah, but But I mean, like, George does that close up on him when he's like, thousands of battle droids.
It's like, oh, easy, buddy.
Yeah, and it's very lucky that Grievous guard who was scouting Obi-Wan. It's a good thing that he turned around and reported to Grievous when he did, because he wouldn't have seen Obi-Wan get out of the ship, because the ship flies off to rally the clones to get together, and then Obi-Wan pops out of like some stable on this lizard steed that I absolutely love. I love this thing. It's yes, yeah, and it's playful, and it growls a little bit, but I mean, this thing is just so endearing. Give us more of that.
Right.
Give us more of this lizard. I liked it. I mean, it's a good use of creatures.
Yeah.
Good use of creature. Yeah. And
it went out for the homies.
And it seems like, this is something that would fit the planet, because I mean, I know that they have like those pterodactyl looking beasts. I think they're used for transport, probably. But if you have these lizards, are they able to scale the walls of these sinkholes?
Well, even the people look kind of very lizard-like too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They kind of had
lizard,
kind of caved in skin,
scaly skin.
Yeah, and they definitely have not been getting a lot of sun.
No.
And they even have some other kind of a dwarf-like species there, who are in full masks and everything, who are there for, I guess, refueling. I don't know who those guys are. They because I heard that Jawas and Tuskens are of the same species. So is it this kind of situation again?
Maybe.
I don't know, but this is when Grievous tells the people, the Separatist leaders, that, yeah, I know you were here, but now you got to go to this other planet that's full of volcanoes called Mustafar, and don't worry, you're going to be safe there.
Sure, yeah, that sounds a place somewhere I'll be safe. Planet full of lava. But
they do it without question. Newt Gunray even brings up Dooku at this point, because it's I can trust kindly old man Christopher Lee, but you, Grievous, I'm not so sure about. You've already lost the Chancellor once. You're not as cool as you were in that cartoon.
You're hacking and wheezing everywhere.
I don't know what to think about you. You're wearing this cloak. You're so weird, man.
You got your innards exposed. Come on, man, cover that up.
Dad, Jerry and Elaine said that they saw you with a guy in a cave yesterday. He's my lawyer. And he appears on the bridge at the end of the episode. But Obi-Wan jumps down, does the classic, hello there. And we think we're gonna get a good, we think we're gonna get a good 4-on-1 with the Magna Guards. But then Lucas subverts our expectations and just has Obi-Wan drop a huge weight on him. And he cuts that one's head off as it's reaching for the staff.
Nope.
And then Grievous pops out the other two arms and whips out the lightsabers. And they start to duel, and Grievous looks cool when he's spinning and cutting up the floor, but then when he's actually fighting,
needs some work.
I don't know what the deal is. I get it. They had to tone him down for the movie, but seeing what he was doing just last year or 2 years ago, and in the second volume of that show, he chased 3 Jedi, one of which was Shaak Ti, who were trying to get Palpatine to a bunker, and he was chasing them through the city.
Yeah. He should have taken Obi-Wan.
But, oh my gosh, this... it starts out and like it starts out cool visually, but this just does not work in the overall function because we know that Grievous is gonna have to die, but it couldn't have been a little bit cooler. I mean,
it was very underwhelming.
I don't know. Would he have fared better if he had one of his guards' staffs or something? Because I know he keeps lightsabers as trophies, and he said he had trained under Dooku, which by the way, have you seen that training scene in the original Clone Wars?
Yeah.
Remember when Dooku knocked the lightsaber and he like, you know, like flipped and caught it with his foot and still went down on him? Yeah. And then like,
Nothing like that in the movies.
Yeah, and then like, you know, Dooku's just like, good, and then he just pushes him aside with the Force. But you know, here come the clones after it looks like all is doomed, or not really, because Obi-Wan's holding his own. But you know, the clones do arrive, and you know the whole battle starts, and we get those crab droids now showing up. We have to fight one of those in the video game, and that thing is a pain to take out. But Grievous just goes, "You must realize you are doomed." Oh, I don't think so. And then he just pushes the freak out of him, and I like his little spider walk that he does to get to his wheel. And when he drives away on the wheel, this is the Grievous that we saw in the Clone Wars, because he's got arms on that wheel that are picking up clones and throwing them out of the way as he's driving along. And then Obi-Wan chases him through the caverns of Utapau after he conveniently loses his lightsaber, and it conveniently lands at the feet of Commander Cody. But they get to his landing platform after Grievous is trying to shoot him, and Obi-Wan has one of those staffs, and he jumps on Grievous's wheel, so he loses his lizard for a little while. But then they have like, you know, a fist fight.
Because that works.
Yeah, but you know,
fist fight a robot, okay.
And it's funny how like, you know, Obi-Wan jabs him in the chest with that staff, and it doesn't even seem to faze him. But you know, we get a glimpse at how primitive the tech was, because Obi-Wan pulls open his chest plate and we see his organs and that fluid sac. And then that's when Grievous throws him off the cliff, and then Obi-Wan, we find out why he said that the lightsaber was not as clumsy and random as a blaster. Yeah. Because even though he's pretty handy with it, what does he say when he throws it?
So uncivilized.
Yeah,
like
that was a pretty violent death.
Who designed Grievous? Like, they're like, oh, we don't need to protect, you know, the thing that's keeping him alive. We can just cover it with two pieces of metal and just make sure they overlap. And
you're talking about, you know, inward, not the, I mean, in universe, not the Lucasfilm art department. Because originally he went through some other constructions. Like I think at one point he was going to be a lizard or something, or I also think at one point he was also potentially going to be a guy who may have looked like Han Solo.
Sure.
No, just leave Harrison Ford alone. I don't know, but you know, like I said, in universe, it's because the tech wasn't complete, so he couldn't have the full Vader suit protection. Yeah. It was very primitive, and I guess they kind of hastily put it on him because like I said, his origin story revealed that Dooku wanted him to join the Separatists, but he refused, I think because of the conflict that, like, you know, basically the continuous civil war that was brewing on his planet, even though he hated the Jedi, because the Jedi were assisting the species that Grievous and his species were fighting against. So Dooku wanted him. Grievous said no, and so they planted a bomb on his ship and blew him up. And then he woke up in a bacta tank, and they said, it was the Jedi who did this. We have this suit for you." And Grievous said, "Yes, I'll take it, but I want my own eyes and my own organs." So,
fair enough.
Yeah. He also dies a pretty grisly, violent death with the flames shooting out of his eyes. I do like after the first shot where he catches some of his flaming innards in his hands and he's like,
"Oh, dang it.
I'm screwed." Yeah. This is the most violent Star Wars movie we've ever had, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
people being burned alive.
Yeah. But the Jedi get wind of Obi-Wan's pursuit, and that's when Mace Windu tells Anakin to report it to the Chancellor and watch his body language because that may give us a clue. And then he just gives one very flat line delivery. "I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi." That sounds pretty big, yo. But
oh yeah, it's whatever. It's just a plot to destroy us.
But I do like the way Yoda sounds in that hologram transmission when he goes, "To a dark place this line of thought will carry us. Great care we must take." And when Anakin goes to see Palpatine, he's checking out that Death Star thing that he got from the last movie. He's like, the funds that could be for the Senate can go here.
A little distribution.
Yeah. When I was younger, a friend of mine said that there were also schematics for a TIE fighter in that thing, but I've never seen it.
I've never seen a TIE fighter schematic.
No. He said that it's in that same little hologram pop-up that has the Death Star plans, and I'm like, I don't see it. You're full of crap.
I'll have to look at that next time I watch it.
Well, I mean, he may have been full of crap, but whatever.
Yeah, maybe.
But anyway, Anakin goes to tell Palpatine that hey, Grievous is being pursued, and that's when the mask fully comes off because Palpatine is I think he's done trying to play around because it's one, things need to get moving, and also things need to get moving. Also, I need a new apprentice, and also, Anakin, are you this stupid?
Yeah. Come on, you haven't figured...
Because he's like, Anakin, let me train you in the ways, no, let me teach you in the ways of the Force. And Anakin's like, you know the Force? And he's like, my mentor taught me everything I need to know. And it's like, what are you talking about? And then he's just like, if one must study the aspects of a thing, you must study all angles, not the narrow, dogmatic, narrow-minded view of the Jedi. And then, you're the Sith!
About time, boy!
It was like a Scooby-Doo reveal. It's this guy that we met at the beginning! And I love Palpatine just like, are you going to kill me? And Anakin's like, I would very much like to, bad line delivery, but then he's like, I can feel your anger. and how he also goes, I can teach you the way to save Padme. And then he goes, I love that little smile that he does. It's just like, dark side, we got free cookies.
Come here, boy.
But Anakin doesn't do anything to secure him. He doesn't bring him in cuffs, or he doesn't lead him to the Jedi at Saber Point. He just leaves him there and runs off to tell Mace, oh hey, Palpatine may be a Sith Lord. And then Mace is just like, well, if what you're telling me is true, you'll have gained my trust, even though we hate each other. So leave this to us and just go wait at the temple.
Yeah, this will be a prime opportunity to use one of those, the holograms we were talking about from before.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, I'm here with, the Dark Lord we've been looking for. He's right here, standing beside me.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do?
Do you have proof? And then that's when you can pull out the thing and have him say, yeah. Yeah, because...
I recorded the entire conversation.
Seriously, but anyway, before we get to the arrest, I love the scene of the back and forth between Padme and Anakin. How it's just silent and it's just going back and forth between the temple and their apartment, his gaze, her gaze, and the haunting score with that woman who's moaning and just, Padme's looking worried. Anakin is very distraught because Palpatine's words are just still ringing in his ear, if you don't trust me, you'll lose your wife. I can do this. And the one good moment that's probably within this entire relationship is when Anakin is looking out and that single tear rolls down his face, because that is how worried he is. Like he has reached his boiling point of desperation now. So kind of reflecting, what path am I going down? What is this truly going to cost me? Yeah, and again with the visual shorthand, he's there all alone in the temple, or I'm sorry, in the council chamber. Even among the Jedi Order, he still feels alone. He feels like an outcast, and just oh man, it's just such a good scene. And he just basically just says, screw what Master Windu said, and he goes to Palpatine's office. And I hate how the scene ends with C-3PO walking into the scene and bowing to Padme. I mean, I know that they had to end it somehow, but there could have been something else. But thank goodness Lucas didn't ruin that by having C-3PO speak at that moment. It just needed to break.
Stupid,
it just needed to break that scene though. But then Mace, Kit Fisto, and who are the other two Jedi that go with him? Master Tin and
Sassy Tin.
And who's that other guy? I had an action figure of him, but I can't remember his name.
I can't remember who it is.
But the Jedi police show up because Grievous has been killed at this point. And Palpatine knows, but he still tries to play old man because he's like, oh, I've heard that Grievous has been destroyed. Is that why you're here? And then that's when the lightsabers come out. In the name of the Galactic Senate of the Republic, you are under arrest, Chancellor. And then, are you threatening me, Master Jedi? The Senate will decide your fate.
I am the Senate.
Not yet. And then, it's treason. Then... Someone's redone that scene with Kermit as Palpatine.
Yes. I've actually seen that one, yep.
So, Tin and the other guy get cut down like that.
Dude, for Jedi Masters, they get put down hard.
Hey, remember, these are people who are deluded by their own grandeur. They've been living in a protected bubble for so long, and the dark side has clouded them.
But Mace Windu knows how to fight. Yoda knows how to fight.
They don't want other people, breaking rank and, usurping them because then the Jedi Council will just be a massive power grab. But then, the Hutts could come in and take over. My gosh, there's just so many things we can do with this whole thing.
Man.
Let's make a Star Wars what if.
Let's do it. I'm down.
The Hutts take over, what if the Hutts took over the Jedi? God, bet Jedi poodle. But this fight between Palpatine and Mace Windu it's not the flashiest, but it is hard hitting.
Yeah.
Because Mace Windu is a battle hardened guy, and also I don't know. Do you know about the lore behind lightsaber colors and what they mean?
A little bit, like.
I heard that purple is used by Jedi who draw on the dark side in battle to, I guess, like give them something of an upper hand. So
Yeah, but they're more balanced,
Yeah.
kind of.
and it's nothing too spectacular, but I love that wide shot where they break the window and you can hear the wind howling and everything. That is a good shot.
The camera movement through that shot. How it just pans as Mace is walking around the room. It pans with him.
No, the CGI flip that Palpatine does isn't. But then Anakin shows up,
What
and
do you
then
mean? Ian McDermott actually did that.
yeah. But then, yeah. I mean, I believe that just as much as I believe Christopher Lee jumped over that railing at the beginning.
Oh yeah, dude. He's good. He's good.
But shows up, and what does he see? Master Windu pointing a saber at a politician, and this cowering old man going, "I was right. The Jedi are taking over."
No, help me, please.
And then,
Anakin.
and then Palpatine breaks out the lightning at this point, and
I think if you were still unsure at that point, once he broke out the lightning, I think that pretty much cemented the fact.
I don't know. He could still have doubts. Plo Koon can use lightning.
Oh yeah, that's true.
He's like, who should I believe? Because they're doing this back and forth of Palpatine going, he's a traitor, and Mace is like, no, he's the traitor. And then he's like, I have the power to save the one you love. And he's like, don't listen to him, Anakin. And he's like, I'm too weak. I'm too weak.
See, I was watching this again last night, and during that scene, like, Palpatine totally faked him out because he did not lose power. Like, he did not.
He didn't. No.
He was baiting, and he wanted Anakin to finish. He wanted Anakin to be the one to finish the job, to protect him.
Yeah, because Anakin, like we said, had reached his desperation point. So pulling the lightsaber out was not to block Mace Windu. It was to get that lightsaber out of the picture.
Yeah.
Because if Mace hadn't stand there monologuing, he could have just killed Palpatine then and there. Yeah. And Anakin tries to start off with principle by saying, no, I killed Dooku without trial, and that was wrong, so you can't do this to him. Yeah, but yeah, you were so right. That was a complete fake out.
Because you saw, like, as soon as Dooku got disarmed, or not Dooku, but Windu got disarmed.
Yeah.
You saw how Palpatine popped up.
Power! And then he throws him out the window. And I love how he's still glowing from the lightning even as he's falling.
Yeah, you can see like flashes of like his skeletal system.
And Anakin, again, what have I done?
What have I done?
Hayden, I mean, can't you fall to your knees and go to tears? I mean, you just killed one of your own. Maybe not directly, but you were involved in it, and then Palpatine is just like, you are fulfilling your destiny, Anakin.
So did the residual kickback of that lightning like kind of fry his vocal cords too? Because did they really ever explain like why he's all gravelly after that?
Well, his voice does change. I think it may just be dark side energy because he immediately goes back to like normal Palpatine voice after he christens them, and he's like he's like, oh, the Jedi are betrayed, and then like Anakin goes yeah like they're evil now, and then he goes, we must move quickly.
He just like flip, like it's extra gravelly, and like you said, he does flip flop between like extra like normal and then like extra gravelly. And I know, like, he does a deeper voice when he's putting on his Sidious persona, but it sounds like his vocal cords got fried. Once more, the Sith will rule the galaxy.
That was good. It was really good. Actually, no. It was really good. And then we get, from henceforth you shall be known as Darth Vader. I wonder if he had to, think a minute. This is like...
What hasn't been taken?
Vader.
Revan, no.
Do you think that this resolution was too quick? I know that he'd been playing on his emotions for the desperation and everything, but this is what motivated Anakin to become Darth Vader.
I think we should have gotten more of Episode 2 should have built up so much more leading into this, because we should have gotten more of Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship. We should have gotten more of Anakin's temptation towards the dark side.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been so much better if Palpatine wasn't preying on Anakin's weakness and Anakin fully embraced it, almost with glee and abandon, almost yes, I will join your teachings. But him submitting himself to him
it
was quick. It was done out of desperation, and I also read that he did it as a way to somewhat atone for killing Mace Windu, because he felt like he had crossed a point of no return, and this was the only way forward.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, but he's all too willing to just just go full ham on.
Yeah. Anakin is an arrogant SOB. Maybe he was thinking, maybe if I go through this and go on with the teachings, that I'll just gain all this knowledge and power, and then just break free and do my own thing with Padme, and then we'll be free of all this, and I'll be so much more powerful, and we'll be good.
Oh yeah. And I like it that, the moment, I think either right before or right after he says, rise, we get that just small beat from the Imperial March. It's just
there it is.
But, one last thing before we wrap it up. He says Anakin needs to go to the temple and just wipe out everyone there, because the Jedi are traitors. Even Obi-Wan, you saw that he was trying to kill me, so you need to go to the temple and just wipe them out.
And even that, Anakin just turned, he has all these feelings, even though whatever his end game is at this point, that's just an extreme measure. Okay, you're my prince now. I'll teach you everything you know. Now go kill all your friends. What?
And then
go kill all these people that you've had all these relationships with for many, many years, who pretty much raised you. Go kill all the men, the women, and the children. Too. And he's just, I'm sure he feels I'm sure he regrets it, but I'd be come on, dog. That's my first task. You can't ease me into this whole Sith thing. Just go kill everybody in the temple.
Yeah, he also tells him that, after you're done with that, go kill the Separatist leaders. Why couldn't he just tell him to, go kill the Separatist leaders? And he could have, just been it's okay. Your conscience will be clear. Plus, we'll be ending the war. Isn't that good?
And he's just okay with it. Okay.
And then, what if he just sent the clones to the temple? Because the clones did a pretty good job of...
They could have easily...
They seem to have been doing a pretty good job of taking care of the Jedi themselves. But you also have to wonder, they had to take ships to the temple, like gunships or something, because wouldn't you think that if they weren't so absorbed with their lifestyle or blind to what's going on, the people of Coruscant would have been really concerned if they saw a dark hooded figure leading a battalion of clones to the temple?
Yeah.
But that is a great visual of them coming up the stairs and just hearing the music. Yeah.
The beats of the footsteps sinking in with the beats of the music too.
Oh yeah, and some of the clones have the long rifles, some of them have the short stormtrooper rifles. And I also have to say, out of the evolution of armor from across the entire saga, this one is my favorite armor.
501st?
Yes, 501st, like part stormtrooper, part clone in the helmet, and this is my favorite armor. I mean, I like it better than the OG troopers. I never really could dig the fins on the episode 2 armor.
Yeah.
And even though the sequel stormtrooper armor is a sleek look, it's just still,
it doesn't do
recycling
anything for me, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just recycling what came before, but this was good, showing that, oh, hey, we're getting close. Here's the transition point. Yeah, it was beautiful, but we will
get stormtroopers.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know that in Battlefront 2, we'll start the next episode with this next week, but I know that in the Battlefront 2 game, the original, it had like a little glimpse of a gunship flying by the temple or something, so I guess we could assume that maybe there was a nearby drop-off point for the clones to get to the temple, so that the citizens of Coruscant wouldn't get weirded out by what's going on. But yeah, the 501st, Legion, so...
Vader's Fist?
Vader's Fist, yeah, but, a Legion so iconic that there's even, a community named the 501st. And, yeah, I mean, some people go crazy with this stuff, but good crazy. I mean, there is a woman in Japan, I think, who's part of the 501st Legion, and she has her own... like a clone trooper armor, but it's all pink.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah,
dude, like these are like movie quality.
Yeah,
things.
yeah. I mean, like these
play.
people are devoted to their cosplay and just being part of the 501st. But we'll wrap it up here, and we will bring the circle to its completion with part 3 of
episode 3
of episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. So, good night, Godspeed. May the Force be with you.
Good night.